catch me when I fall. Love is from the soul, success is the goal. It's cold outside, keep me warm inside, and keep me firm on my
Welcome to Wise Gifted and Black, a podcast where we educate and celebrate Black and urban culture. Now let's get it. All right, Mr. QXJR, how you doing, sir? How's it going, brother? Wait, so what? This is our third try of an interview, of the first interview. Yeah, the first one we had a technical problem which I messed up I bungled quite badly.
What did you do? You did not press record or what?
I don't know. Let's just move on, huh? Let's just move on. I think I messed up badly with that one. But those kind of technical difficulties have been resolved now. Second interview, we were all supposed to set this one up, and then boom, my girl gives birth on the day itself. So I couldn't actually, as much as I wanted to act in the hospital. You know what I mean? I'm like, babe, just give me 1 hour. I'm just gonna go on a podcast, and she said no. So
that would have been weird.
Yeah, it would have been, especially for the doctors there. So this is our third take.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, let's go with third times. And first, before we even start off, man, R.I.P. to Chadwick Boseman. Died at the age of 43. Wakanda forever, mate. Wakanda forever.
So sad.
Sad, eh?
No. Like some of my Colombian friends used to call me the Black Panther. And just the other day, I was walking to the grocery store and I was dressed in like all black with a, mask on. And then this guy is walking towards me and he wants to fist bump me. And I respond, I put up my fist and he does that, but then I keep looking at him when he walks away and I had my earphones on. So I take them off. He's like, hey man, you look like, you're representing Wakanda. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, just the fact that those things happened in this past week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was telling myself I need to watch, that movie, The Five Bloods. I was telling myself that on Friday night.
I watched, because apparently in that movie, he was going through surgery and stuff like that as well. So, I mean, look, no one was actually aware of what was happening, but that, and I just put on my list to watch. I watched it yesterday, actually. Message from the King.
Watched that one.
Yeah, I'd watched Marshall maybe about a month ago.
I haven't watched that one.
My partner hasn't watched Black Panther. So. Yeah. yeah. So now is the time. I'm like, now we have to watch it. So that's tonight. We'll watch Black Panther tonight. So, hey man, sad time. That's 2020, man. First Kobe, then Black Panther goes, man. I don't know. I was saying this year, this New Year's Eve coming up for 2021 is going to be the biggest. Everybody's going to be celebrating so much because everybody's going to be like, fucking, we're done with 2020. You know what I mean? Let's get the fuck out of 2020. We need this shit. We need this shit to be over. I swear. I just want to hibernate and, just not know about anything else that's happening until New Year's Eve. Even then.
Man.
We'll be
we're all just scratching our heads like, how? What is going on?
Yeah, man.
It's like just blow after blow after blow. And it's too much.
Yeah. It's hectic, man. It's hectic. But third take, QXJR. Now, I know...
You can't even say it.
Huh? What, third take?
QXJR.
That's the name, I mean, the QXJR. I'm still trying to get you to shorten it to Q, but one day, you know what I mean?
One day.
Yeah, one day, one day you're just gonna get tired of the other letters. You know what I mean? Just like, man, I'm just tired of writing. All right, I'll just put it Q. You know what I mean? But let's cue this up. Hey, yeah. Sorry. quarantine, bro. Quarantine.
You've been trying to get your dad jokes on point.
Look, I've got a 2-week-old baby, so I've had a couple of sleepless nights. I mean, this is lack of sleep. This is what this is, lack of sleep.
Okay, understandable.
But yeah, look,
Let you off the hook.
Yeah, please, just this one time, Third take, QXJR. Everybody, welcome to Wise, Gifted, and Black. Q is one of those musical minds that I love, because when it comes to beats, you break it down, to a science for me. Now, I come from that lyrical background, so I love content. You come from the beats side, so this is why it's always great having music conversations with you, and not only music conversations, hip hop in general. So, for the people out there, I know your history, but just give us a little journey, from Kenya to Australia,
Man, it's a long journey.
It's a long ass journey.
Okay, so yeah, it starts in Kenya. Born in Kenya when I was about 9 years old. Moved to Botswana. Lived in Botswana for a good 19 years, and then moved to Australia. I've been here about 5.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So in between all of that, the music, I started exploring that a little bit when I was in Botswana. So my elder brother, this is when I was in primary school, standard 6 or 7, equivalent of year 6 or 7 here. My brother would, have his friends over, and they'd be rapping and creating their own beat tapes and albums. They'll get a single for a track, and on this disc for the single there'll be the radio version, there'll be the instrumental, there'll be the a cappella. So they find all these instrumentals, and then they record their own songs and put it on tape.
Yeah.
So here I am, I want to, rap too, but they'd be like, nah, you're too young.
And that was mixtapes. So that's how mixtapes were done in those days, isn't it? Just take an instrumental, because they always had, as you said, the a cappella, the instrumental, and you just put your own version.
Yeah. So there was I'm always there at almost every recording session, watching, observing, and in my mind I'm like, I want to rap too, but they're like, nah, just
big brother said
stay
no.
over there. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I did get on 1 or 2 tracks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've forgotten what those were.
Yeah.
But, since I couldn't I couldn't do the rapping with them, I started getting curious about the beats.
Okay.
I'm like.
But what happened with the rapping? I mean, what was it the writing? Was it the lyrics? Or we just weren't interested in that side of it?
I was.
Yeah.
I was interested in all of it, the beats and the rapping, the lyrical part. So it's just that I couldn't be involved in this.
Right.
In the rapping, which is what they were essentially just doing.
Okay.
No one was making beats then.
Yeah.
So I just started getting curious. I was looking at all the, album singles that they got. And I'm like, let me listen to these instrumentals by themselves. If they don't need me for the rap, they will need my beat.
That's your entrepreneurial. That's your thing.
I was like, you know what? I will make them need me.
These are your older brothers as well. This is also trying to get them to respect you as well, to say, hey,
that too. I've got something.
Yeah.
So man,
something of value.
That only a year later, when I got to high school, which is year 8, I met a friend who lives down the street from where we stayed, and he introduced me to a software called Pro DJ. This is 2001, a good 19 years ago. He introduces me to this software, and I'm like, I'm curious. He says, you can make beats with it. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me go get it. I walked to the store, bought this thing for like, it costs 50 pula, $50, which is today's conversion rate less than $10. This is that software. Plug it into the computer, start tinkering with it. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. I thought I was making like dope stuff, but then when I listen to like music out there, I'm like, we're not on the same level. So I'm like, okay, I need something else. Then I came across this other software called EJ.
Yes, now EJ, I remember.
So EJ, I'm like, okay, this sounds better. It had a lot more loops and melodies, so I'm like, this sounds a lot better. Started creating my own there. Then my brother started listening a little bit. My sister also heard a little bit. My friends in school would hear some of the stuff I make, and they were like, oh, okay, there's competition now.
Yeah.
But something about EJ I wasn't satisfied with, because you would get loops and you put them together. So you're arranging pre-made melodies. And I was like, I'm not the original creator of the melody.
Okay.
So then I started chopping the melodies
right
to create my own melodies.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started feeling like, yeah, now I'm being the creative guy.
Yes.
So that's when things started taking off. I did a few beats with that, and then I was like, I need something else, something that gives me a better space to create. And then FL Studio came into the picture. And then that's when now things started taking off. So
yeah.
I would make a bunch of beats, walk to school with my Walkman plugged in, playing all the stuff from my tapes. Actually, I had a Discman, so I'd put my beats on a disc.
Yeah.
And I'd listen to that on the way to school. Exactly. Later on, we had MP3 players, and then we'd do the same thing. I'd meet up with other guys who made beats.
Do you think there's a younger audience out there, if they're listening to this podcast, like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, they could be.
Who knows?
Yeah, man.
I mean, if you do your research, you might find, these softwares and be like, oh, okay, that's what it was back then.
Yeah.
Man, you're making it sound old.
When I think about my times of being a DJ, I started off with the tapes and the pen. But you used to, yeah, man. You take
to rewind it.
Yeah, to rewind it, and it's on a certain place, and there wasn't like mixing. There wasn't like mixing from one to the other. It was just just one continuous music that you recorded, like probably recorded stuff on the radio, stuff like that, and nothing was blending into each other. Like there'll be like that pause for like 5 seconds. Just wait. Press play. Everybody started dancing and stuff. That was how I used to DJ back in the days.
Wow. That is crazy, man. Whew.
Yeah,
but we've come a long way.
Yeah, man. These days you look at a long way. Softwares now that they're using. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, things have advanced. Like FL Studio, used that for a while, and then for a long while, and then that's when I started meeting other people who were, doing things on a similar level.
Yeah.
But together with a band of friends, we called ourselves the Marked Men. That was a
this is the team, huh?
That was a solid team.
That was the team, yeah.
So like two of us made beats, the other two rapped.
Yeah.
So it was easy now. Like I'm just providing beats, they're just gonna rap.
Did you ever like learn or have to learn any instrument or anything at any point, or was it just like? Because I remember like Fruity Loops. I'm not saying it was easy, but you could put things in, and if it made sense, you could put like a drum beat here, and you're like, okay, that sounds, without you having to actually be on a keyboard or something like that.
Yeah, I did not learn to play any instruments. Always wanted to learn how to play the drums, but
the drums, huh?
I mean, yeah, I still want to.
I thought you would have been keyboard, though. I really thought you would have been keyboard.
Yeah, I'm okay with learning the keyboard, but
Okay.
something I'm really keen to do is play the drums.
Right.
So like I've come across pianos, keyboards. I've tried to learn, a couple of scales here and there, play a little bit, because the easiest thing was to get a MIDI keyboard, which you could plug in and then connect to your software and make beats that way.
Right.
That was okay, but I, in my mind, the beat, the drums, and the snares, that's what carries the actual song. That's the
Yeah.
groove.
Yeah.
And then the piano is the melody. So
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of melodies. Now I'm trying to carry the groove by learning how to play the drums.
Wow. Would you?
Mm.
Would you take up that? Would you actually learn if you had time?
I have time, but
everybody
you need
this year.
you need space, you need equipment. So I'm making my way. So I've got like a drum machine. So the introductory step is to learn how to finger drum.
Yeah. And what's that
So
thing called again? Ian?
drum machine.
Is it called just drum machine? Yeah, that's the one that's
like the MPC.
Yeah, like that. And I've seen you creating stuff just right there.
So that's the starting point. So it's not exactly the same, but you're still learning how to carry a groove and create a drum pattern like that.
Okay. All right. So now the crew starts growing. Are you guys getting a bit of a name? This.
No, like see, so the crew, we were just sharing our music together. Like I made this beat, check it out. They'd be like, oh, it's dope. And then they make a beat, they send it to me. I'm like, yeah, that's dope. So then this crew was essentially created by three brothers, right?
Yeah.
The original Markman, it's three brothers. So one of them made beats, the other rapped, the other was more, I'd say more on the business side and just part of the picture, but he didn't really engage in the music aspect. So when we came along, there was already the Marked Men, right, as a crew. But then I came into the picture, and then another rapper came into the picture, Chubb. So when we got together, we were like, you know what? Let's record a song. And we did. So we recorded this song, put it out on radio, and it got good feedback. And we're like, oh, okay. So people like
we
this
got
stuff.
Something, yeah.
Then we're like, let's put out a little project. Put out like a 5-track CD, and it got good feedback. So we're like, you know what? We can actually make a project. So we just kept going like that.
Perfect.
So we made this first single of 5 tracks. That project was it was carried by a song called Guess Who, right? So it's also like making people wonder, who are these guys?
Okay.
So we did that, and then we did this other project with, I think it had like 18 tracks. We called it The Rise of a New Breed. So we made a bunch of beats, put it on there, got some rappers to join in and record on certain tracks. So at the time, there was this crew like Cab, Zeus, and Samba.
Yeah.
They were like blowing up, and we managed to get them on a couple of tracks because we had good relations with them. And that's when
Zeus definitely Zeus is definitely a rapper that at some point peaked and was making a lot of noise, especially for people in Southern Africa like me, Malawi and stuff like. Man, Zeus was kicking it.
Man, super talented. So if we've got these guys of band caliber making music with us, we're like, okay, we've got something. We've got something. So we made that project. Man, when was that? I think that was like 2007 or something.
Okay.
Somewhere there. We made that, and it got, like good reviews from people, like critics. They were like, okay, these guys are onto something.
Right.
But we are also, entrepreneurs, we were thinking of so many things.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to do so many things.
What
we
you
didn't
like your own
just
projects or
capitalize. No, just expanding.
basically okay, expanding
So
the team.
we were doing music.
team's efforts.
The team, yeah, we were doing music. We had started as a clothing label. Markman was initially a clothing brand.
Wow, you guys were thinking on
And
those
then-
levels, eh?
And then, you know, it morphed into this crew of rappers.
Yeah.
And then down the line, we also moved into like entertainment, trying to bring together music and clothing through events. So we were doing so many things.
Yeah, from the beginning when you guys were starting, were you thinking more business in or more music side, or how was that? How did that organically grow?
We were thinking more business, like
Right.
what can we do? But at the same time, we just wanted to enjoy making the music.
Uh-huh. So it's a balance, isn't it? It's an important balance.
For a large part, it was a hobby.
Yeah.
You know, it was our outlet.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, we've got this outlet, but we can try and monetize it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened.
So that was the Rise of a New Breed project. And then down the line, we met this dope rapper called Chubb
Yeah.
Heights. He joined the crew. He's a dope rapper. He's like a 90s hip hop head.
Yeah.
So he's on that sort of level. And he came along, you know, everyone who heard him was like, this guy is dope. Every sort of label wanted to like sign him, but he loved our sound. So he was like, nah, I'm running with these guys.
Yeah. Nice.
So we had a good chemistry, especially me and him, because we sort of think alike.
Right.
So he'd tell me, you know, this is what he's listening to. I'd tell him what I'm listening to, and we're like, okay, I'm liking what you're listening to. You're liking what I'm listening to. Clearly, we've got something, and we started exchanging. Well, essentially, all the beats I made were available to him, and he would pick and choose and make his tracks. And down the line, we created his album, which was called Necessary Noise. And this album, I think I did about 7 out of 16 tracks. So I did almost half of it. And yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was in 2012. That was another solid album.
I really think like from the mid 2000s coming forward, like hip hop in Africa was just taking its own like a mind of its own. You know, it was growing at such a rate at some point. Is this still? I think it's still growing. I mean, you see the Nasty C's and a few of the rappers out there.
Nasty C is on another level now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
His new album just dropped, and he's just broken all boundaries essentially.
Yeah, I mean that song with T.I., man. That song with geez. No, he killed that one. He murdered that song, dude.
He's got another song with Ari Lennox.
Wow.
Man, it's like you know, you can't box him in anymore and say he's an African rapper.
Yeah.
But he does call himself a Zulu man. So this album of his was essentially him telling us, be proud of who you are and where you're from, and be proud to say it. So
yeah,
I think that the album is called Zulu Man with Some Power.
Okay.
And the initial track, you know, sort of sets the stage, and I'm like, yeah, I hear you, I see you, I love what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's one thing that's impressive about the African rappers. Like I don't like it when they try to do too much American style. You know, they try to sound like an American rapper too much. I mean, look, there's nothing we can do. I mean, even when I used to rap, I would, I would have to sound a bit American, but I'd always put a little bit of an effort to sound African. I'll put like little slang in there or something just to sound authentic. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've always said this. Like you look at Niger, for example. Niger, the musicians, they don't sing in an American accent. They've been singing in Niger accents and killing it, literally killing it. You know that
Yeah.
there was a point I remember where every single white person in my country, Malawi, was singing that P Square song, "Chop My Money." It was the funniest thing. It was the funniest thing. They would just be chop my money, chop my money. You know what I mean? And it's that authenticity. You know what I mean? It's like keeping
Yes.
the accent, keeping we're African. This is what we are. That's it. You know.
Yeah.
You can love us. In the beginning, I think there was a lot of rappers that were just doing that too much, where they came out sounding like Tupac and DMX, and like
Yeah.
you don't have to do that. And there was, remember, there was
True.
one guy I was doing a song with, and this guy kept on missing the L's and the R's. The really cool. Like, dude, nah, man, just leave it, bro. You know what I mean? Sing in our local language, sing in Chichewa. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
You know, you can't be saying relics. You know what I mean?
Relics.
Hey,
Oh.
check out my relics. Like, bruh, you know what I mean? Just drop it, bruh. Just drop it. So it's nice when you see that authenticity. You know, people.
You know, it's a hard thing to reach, to attain, because you're emulating a musical style that is not, truly your culture.
Yeah.
Hip hop started in, New York, in the US. So when we emulate that, we try and be like them.
Yes.
And for the most part, it just doesn't sound right because we don't have all the elements of their culture. The slang, the accent, just the way you carry yourself. But what happened, which was really good, is for me, when I witnessed the South African growth of hip hop, is they slowly started incorporating their own elements of their own culture.
Exactly.
So much like the way they had Kwaito and Motswako, they started focusing more on that, and it just started evolving naturally. It started evolving naturally, and it got to a point where you'd be like, okay, this is hip hop, but it's very different. It is South African. And once it got to that point, there was no denying that this is, it's authentic. It's its own thing.
Yeah, I didn't think it could work until it was Double HP, Hip Hop Pansula, that did it from that first. He was doing this video where he's playing golf in Joburg or something. I remember, I'll never forget it, but he was doing it in that they were speaking a bit of like South African languages in it, and you could see it was authentic, and it sounded fucking great. It sounded beautiful, it just blended. You were bopping to it. I was like, okay, all right, this can work. You know what I mean? This definitely can work. And not only can it work, it can attract people from outside to what we're doing here in Africa, I mean, so yeah, that's
exactly, man.
So at what point Double HP, yeah, man, great rapper. May his soul rest in peace. And so at what point did because I remember you mentioned something about Sampa the Great. So you were at the same school with her?
Oh. So Sampa the Great. Sampa the Great went to my, okay, so in Botswana, the primary school I went to, it was called Rainbow Primary School. Now, when I completed my primary schooling, they were starting a secondary school called Rainbow Secondary School,
Okay.
essentially Rainbow High School. So I did not go to the high school. I went to the primary school. When I heard about Sampa the Great and she grew up in Botswana, I read that she went to Rainbow Secondary School. So I was
Wow.
like, oh, we went to the same school essentially. So that was interesting. And, man, she's got her own style, her own flavor. Like, man,
Yeah. Yeah.
it might be a rainbow thing.
Let's see where you go with your career, man. We're keeping a close eye on it.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
we want to keep a close eye on it, man. Yeah,
Do
man.
that.
Her performance at Black Lives Matter rally, when I went to that, was just phenomenal for me. It was so refreshing to stand there and to have someone from Zambia, from that's next door to Malawi, from Africa, going up there and singing the songs in the middle of because we weren't expecting that. It was so powerful for me.
Was not expecting that.
Yeah, it was so powerful for me. So respect to Sampa the Great as well. I love her music as well.
Oh yeah.
Look, apart from that, man, what's your take on what's been happening with this? Because music, hip hop's been a bit quiet now with 2020. Has there been
You
a
think
lot
so?
of
What?
well, there's
Man.
there's been a couple of the Black Lives Matters music that's come out, but I think the beginning was a bit like I thought Kendrick was gonna have an album out, but because he was teasing us with some stuff, J. Cole's teasing us with stuff. I don't know if J. Cole's coming up with something right now.
Well, he says that the album is coming soon, so he's gonna take his time with it. So we can assume that something will drop this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I keep looking into new and upcoming artists. So mainstream, it may have looked quiet, but there's been a lot of dope music coming out.
Anything stands out for
Yeah.
you? Hip hop wise?
Ooh, I'd have to check my library because
Yeah.
there's a lot. Like just last week, Lecrae dropped his album, Restoration. That's a really dope album. I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Nas dropped King's Disease.
I listened to Nas's one. I like this one. I like this one way better than the one he did with Kanye. Way better. Way better. I won't lie. Yeah, man.
I've had it on repeat.
Yeah. I like it when you can play an album, just go through and from one song right to the first song right start to finish and not stop.
Not skip,
not skip a tune, and enjoy every minute of it. That's what I felt with this one, and I didn't get that with that Kanye project. No. I didn't. There was some stuff that was
something was missing. It's like something was missing, and it was too short to, just look at it as a project as a whole. You're like,
but good music was doing the 7-track thing with everybody, isn't it?
But
what's the name?
Tatiana Taylor, the one with Kid Cudi
and Kanye's one as well, isn't it?
And Kanye's album. Like, I don't know. Like, it didn't feel to me. They didn't feel like it was enough to look at it as a body of work.
Yeah.
If you get to like 10 songs, then I'll be like, okay, this is a body of work. 7, it's almost there, but doesn't feel quite there.
Yeah, I don't know what he was trying to achieve with that, with the 7, the good music, the good music program that he was doing there. Because I remember thinking, oh yeah, this could be cool, but the problem is my work. I drive around a lot, so I'll play an album, and I've got a good sound system in my car, so that's when I really enjoy listening to the music. So
Mm.
when I drive 45 minutes to work and I've finished an album, I'm like, no, this is stupid. You know what I mean? I wanted to listen to the album the whole day. I wanted to be driving around listening to this album, and I finished it in one journey. You know what I mean?
Like, what is this? This is
Yeah,
not enough.
you can't finish it in 45 minutes. I mean, that's just a joke.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I mean. Look, Nas's album is okay. Drake seems to
Hans's
be
album
dropping
was dope.
stuff. Like also, he just keeps dripping stuff to us as well.
Yeah, Drake's got an album coming out soon as well. Curious to hear what that sounds like. You know,
Yeah.
potentially it'll be good. Big Sean has an album on the way as well. But in terms of what else has dropped this year, Russ. Do you listen to
Russ?
Russ?
No.
Russ. Yeah. You should pay attention to Russ.
Yeah.
He's been on a solo grind, and you know, he's built his own fame. So he's got a following that are pretty much loyal to him. But
Okay.
whew, worth a listen. And he's always consistently putting out music.
Nice.
There's this guy, Amin. He's pretty dope. He's dropped an album called Limbo. Definitely worth listening.
Yeah.
Definitely worth listening. Have you heard of Griselda Records?
Yes.
Yeah, so all those guys, Conway the Machine, Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun, they are consistently dropping projects. So this entire year they've been putting product out. So it hasn't been a quiet year hip hop wise. It's just not necessarily the mainstream names we know of.
Yeah.
But other new upcoming people.
What's that?
Who else?
Corday?
Logic dropped an album.
Yeah, but Logic.
Oh, YBN Corday.
Yeah, YBN Corday. I like his flow, man. I like his flow. This single that he's dropped as well.
Have you heard the album? Previous album?
Yeah. I listened to the album because of this song that he dropped. I was like, this is solid. Then and his album, you can hear it from his previous stuff. You know, he was dropping that kind of like, I don't know, when that kind of, I feel like it's shitty rap. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, you know, but it's just not for me kind of rap. And then he goes into this old school kind of flow in this last album. I like that. And you know, it's just one of those things where it's just, you know what I always say. You like the reason why I'm into that kind of hip hop, like that old school hip hop where there's flow, there's content, is because that kind of hip hop is the hip hop that I lost my virginity to, you know, and so you know, so it's always gonna resonate with me. You know what I mean? It's always gonna be. That's the kind of music that I was, you know, doing my thing to, you know, a little bit of how do you want it, a bit of Tupac there. That was my stuff. So, this is why I'm defending myself here. You know what I mean?
I hear you 100%.
So some of these ones when they come out, some of these beats when they come out, it's like, man, it's a bit repetitive for me. You know, it's a bit.
I hear you.
It's a bit repetitive. You know, but yeah, you're right. Like
there's been a lot of good projects out there. Like Lupe Fiasco dropped a project with this producer called Kaylin Ellis.
That dinosaur track. I don't know if I tried listening.
You're talking about one track. Have you?
Yeah, I know. I listened to it. I listened to the album, but I kind of skipped through a lot of songs as well.
Okay.
The dinosaur one is the only one that I saw coming up on YouTube as well. I'm like, okay, why is this song being? So I thought maybe there was something, because Lupe, you know, he's always got these hidden meanings because he's very knowledgeable.
Lupe as a lyricist, man, underrated.
I know, very underrated. Very underrated.
So, and what's there was a track called Shoes.
may
if
have
you
listened
listen to the track called Shoes and actually listen to what he's saying,
Yeah.
you'll be like, okay, wow, I missed all of that. Like, there's a lot of stuff which will go over people's heads
Yeah.
because Lupe, like, his style is just crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, what's his name? Davies dropped Karma 3 as well.
Yeah. Davies dropped
recently.
his as well.
Yeah, it was decent,
Yeah. I like the previous one, that previous one that he did.
Survival.
Survival. I really
Yeah,
liked
I was thinking that dropped this year, but it was
that was last year. Yeah.
What else has come out this year? I listen to a lot of music, so
You know
if I
what's
go
come
through
out
my
this,
library,
in 2020 that I really love because of this
What?
whole isolation and quarantine shit is the verses
let
stuff.
me guess, Versus.
I enjoyed verses. I don't know why. Like, there's people that actually don't enjoy it, but is that because I'm an old head? Is that what it is? Maybe because
Most likely.
yeah,
Most likely. Like if
man,
you
some of them-
enjoy music, because it's music from the past 20 or so years,
yeah.
you
For you
know,
to have a
and
catalog of 20 songs at least,
20 hits.
20
Yeah.
hits. You need to
It's
have
a
a
good
catalog. You need to have
15
a
plus years.
yeah. You need to be in the game for a bit. I
Yeah.
mean, you look at Snoop. Snoop was what?
Snoop and DMX.
He was 90. When did Doggy Style drop or Deep Cover?
Is
That
it
was
93?
yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere there.
I mean, that's what? How many
Bro,
years?
that's like 27
27.
years.
You still in the game, bro. You still in the game.
He's still in the game.
Still in the game, man.
The challenge is always that as time moves, the sound evolves. So if we're so used to the 90s boom bap, it may be hard to swallow the new music that's coming up.
Yeah.
So, an artist like Snoop, for him to still be dropping music, you're like, okay, wow, that's an achievement. But it's hard for, one of my friends, we were talking about the new Nas album, right?
Yeah.
And he made a comment that, he doesn't want to be listening to a 50-year-old rapping. And then it hit me. Nas is 46 years old.
Yeah.
And, you're like, okay, hip hop is not that old as well.
Yeah.
So we're coming to a point where OGs are still dropping music now.
Yeah.
And it's unfair to say, oh, you're old. The question is, are you making good music or not?
Yeah. I mean,
Age shouldn't be an issue here, like other genres, people age and still create music, and you don't look at them age-wise. You ask, is the music
exactly
good?
it.
Or not?
I mean, it's I always find that funny in hip hop. I think it's because hip hop is so competitive. When when an old rapper is dropping something, we want that old rapper to be. Why is it not number one? He doesn't have to be number one. He's been number one for time, and he, Jay-Z dropped 444. He didn't really promote it like the way he promoted the other albums because he doesn't have to he doesn't really need that kind of money. I mean, money's money at the end of the day, but he doesn't really, he doesn't really need to drop. Even Nas, I don't think Nas, if you look at his business ventures that he's doing, he doesn't really have to drop a popular album. He doesn't have to drop an album that's number one. He just has to drop an album that his fans would be like, yeah, man, that's Nas. You know what I mean? That's us. That's us old heads. We listen to that, be like, yeah, man, that's on point. That's on point. But
it's a tricky one, man. That's a tricky slope.
Yeah, but
because
only a few
you want
people
to put something you want to put something out that does well. So if you've got loyal fans, yes, you'll do pretty well. But for your album to be number one, that's something good to have. It's not the goal.
Yeah,
Like you're not just putting an album out so that it can be number one. You're putting an album out so that it's received well, like people
exactly.
enjoy and love it. And I think that's one thing interesting about Nas. I think his producer Salam Remy used to say that Nas will put out a project when he's ready to put out a project.
Yeah,
He's not just gonna do it out of pressure. He'll be like, it's time to go, it's time to go. And
yeah,
I'm like, you know what? Just for that reason, every time he puts out a project, I I listen to it without expectations. I'm like, okay, what is this that I'm hearing?
yeah. You can see he's
You
going
know,
through shit. He's going
yeah,
through, like, even this you can hear
what,
he's very matured in what his content is. You can hear it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He's very. It's not an
Mm.
angry. It's not an angry.
But then people might be like, nah, we want the Nas from Illmatic. Like, come on, man.
I
Like,
hate it. I hate when people
people
do that.
evolve.
Yeah, I hate when people do that.
It's
You know what? People
you
when
know
people
it's
do that, that's where you end up spoiling a musician. That's when you end up. That's why Eminem sounds much better when he's pissed off. You know, when he's got a beef with somebody. You know, he doesn't really have to. He's a very good rapper, but because we only like that Eminem. You
yeah.
know?
Then the expectations just twist things, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, if that's what you want, that's what you want.
Yeah,
I'm listening to what's been given, and I'll critique it for what it is. It's not, we can't be always comparing it to his best. Sure, you can, but you won't necessarily enjoy the music from that point on.
yeah. I think
Mm.
also it's quite fortunate for these rappers as they age, the older rappers as they age, they're aging into a streaming market. You know, where you don't really, your fans will still um, find your music on Spotify and stuff like that. You're still gonna get subscribers. You're gonna get a lot of subscribers to your music. So when your album drops, we're already listening to it without even question, without even needing to promote it as much as it was
Yeah,
done in the
before.
past,
Yeah,
So they're quite fortunate in that sense. So as
yeah.
hip hop evolves, so does the market as well at the same time. So it's going together in organic form, which I love. I love listening to the old rappers. I love listening to them drop shit. Except when
Oh yeah.
Lupe Fiasco drops dinosaurs, man. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about, man? How he lost me with that one, bruh, man. He's just lost me, man.
Have you really listened to it?
Yes, I have. No, and you get to the end, you're like, oh, okay. That's what he's meaning, Oh, right, yeah, but no, man. Just shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Stop getting at these tundras of yours, you know what I mean?
Oh man, but you see, that is the lyrical aspect of it. Like,
Yeah,
if it'll go over your head, and it might be too much for some people. It might be not enough for some people, but like if you critique it for what it is, then I think you will see the the crazy stuff about it. Like, I mean, he's asking interesting questions like dinosaurs, like how do we know that's the sound they made? You
yeah.
know, like
Wow.
maybe it did sound like that, but
Yeah,
so he's asking interesting questions, and it's also, like talking about man, how where should I? I'm trying to recall the lyrics, but you know, he's asking questions that make you wonder how human beings look at things.
yeah.
Like
And
studying, fossils and things like that, but how do we know for sure? These are theories. So if he's questioning a theory, I think there's something, next level about that.
yeah, there always is with him, man. There always is.
Mm,
And look, don't get me wrong.
mm.
I probably need to smoke a lot of weed and then listen to the whole album again. That's where I went wrong. I think I listened to it sober, And my sober listening is very different to my high listening. You know what I mean? When I'm high and I really listen. I really get into the album. I'm like, oh, okay, fucking dinosaurs, yeah, man, that shit makes sense now. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those where, like, what about like with him and verses? Who would Lupe? Do you think Lupe got 20 for verses? Nah, he's got a few.
What do you
though.
mean?
Do you think someone can take on Lupe in verses?
In terms of what? Like, I think
In terms of catalog,
versus,
I mean, does he have 20 in his bag?
man, I think he does.
You think?
I think he does.
Because
But
he
you see,
went quiet for a while though. That's the problem with Lupe. You know, these guys that go quiet and then you don't hear from them and they come back with dinosaurs. You know, this is where the problem is. Sorry, man. I keep going back to this.
Why are you stuck on dinosaurs?
Sorry, man. That song really hit me hard. You know what I mean? But you know, does he have a catalog? You think?
I mean, if you think, Kick Push, right, as a starting point.
Yeah.
The show goes on, Superstar, Out of My Head, Daydreaming, Paris, Tokyo.
This song he did.
The show goes on
with Kanye.
He's got tracks.
That his verse
He's
on
got
that
tracks.
His verse on that song killed me. That's when I was like a Lupe fan. With that verse on Kanye's one. What was that song? Yeah.
Touch the Sky.
Touch the Sky. Fucking hell, dude.
Lupe's got tracks.
Killed me. He killed me.
Lupe has tracks.
Yeah.
He does. And you see, the thing about him, because he's more of a lyricist, he's an MC lyricist. A lot of things he says goes over people's heads. So, it's hard for someone to appreciate him when you're not listening to what his best skill actually is.
Yeah.
If you're critiquing him,
it's deep
based on just making a mainstream hit.
Yeah.
You're not critiquing him for his best skill, and that's unfair.
No, his songs are definitely like, you listen to songs like Dumb It Down and all that. You have to listen to them over a couple of times when you're like, oh wow, oh shit, that's he gets deep into a subject, where it's just sounding good the way he's putting it together. But at the end of it, you're like, the actual content that was heavy. You know what I mean?
So see dinosaurs.
I know. I know. Just give me a minute, bro. Give me a minute. I need to find my plug. You know what I mean? I need to find my plug.
Where he's
I need to call up my plug on that one.
So on the dinosaurs, where he talks about the Flintstones, they used to, slide on their tails, or something like that. And then he says, but in real life, it probably didn't go like that. I mean, like, some of the things we're conditioned to think, he's questioning that. And if you really sit down and ask yourself, what is this guy saying? You'll be like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Anyway, I really like that project. I thought that was one of the good. It's how many tracks? Like 5, 6 tracks?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I followed that producer, so I'm like, to hear him link up with Lupe, because I was just following him a lot on Instagram, and then I saw he has a project with Lupe, so I immediately jumped because I like his style, and Lupe, coming together with this guy who makes, nice chill hip hop beats. I was like, good combo.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I like Lupe, man. I like Lupe. I am gonna listen to it. Just give me some time. Give me some time.
Wait, Joyner Lucas' album came out this year, right? ADHD.
Was that this year or last year?
Yeah, it came out this year.
What I feel like that was last year, man.
It was this year. The singles were coming out since last year, but it came out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I enjoyed his album as well. I enjoyed his album. I enjoyed it.
It was dope.
Yeah.
J Electronica dropped this year.
J Electronica. That's the Jay-Z album. That's not even his album. It's not. You give us wait 20 years for an album and then give us a Jay-Z album. I mean, shut up. You know what I mean? That really does feel like you know what? We've been waiting so long. Jay-Z, just jump on the album. Let's just get something out. we need to finish the contract with this guy. You know what I mean? The guy wants to go on the Hajj, on pilgrimage. You know what I mean?
Oh man, wow.
Anyway, man.
I hear what you're saying, but
Yeah.
hey,
No, there was
what's his name?
some tracks in it. Again.
Jadakiss dropped an album this year, which was pretty dope.
Oh man, Jadakiss's album's fucking I just don't know how to pronounce the name of the album.
Ignatius.
Yeah. You know what's annoying about Jadakiss is that nobody can do the laugh. Have you tried that when you're just driving and you're just like, you know, that doesn't sound but I love that album. And that's another one of those albums you can just play, you know, just first song to the last, and it just flows. They
What's
did
the
Lost
just
dropped
dropped an album
with DMX as well. That song that they dropped to DMX, I thought that was heavy. I liked it.
It was the album just came out, I think this past Friday.
Yeah,
I'm yet to listen to it. D Smoke dropped his album this year. If you sit down and look back, there's some solid projects that have dropped this year. So I wouldn't say it's been quiet.
Yes.
I think with everything that's been happening in the world, you'd be like, yeah, there hasn't been much music, but there has.
Yeah. And then coming down to Melbourne here, coming down to our little town, our little city.
Our little corner here.
Yeah, man. I've just got off the phone with Khalid, man. Khalid's the one from Alt Music Group, the one that did the Bars for Bars that we've been following. So what did you think of the competition itself, though? The Bars for Bars?
I liked the idea. I liked the concept. I think the tricky part is always judging.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be
You mentioned something about that, yeah.
Judging will always be subjective. So, you know, what are we critiquing? You know, if you bring a hip hop artist and an R&B artist, you can't judge them the same way.
Right.
You know, so I may like hip hop, you may like R&B. You know, so obviously there's already a bias, and you know it's understandable. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. You know, someone can say 5 - 3 = 2.
Yeah.
You're still getting to the same answer, but what are you actually looking for? If you're looking for skill and talent and things like that, then it's really a question of what you like as a person. And when you leave things to be judged by the public, there's always room for controversy.
Yeah.
Always. So it's not an easy thing. I think the task of putting together a competition, it's a big thing which should be, you know, like celebrated. All these people who put up competitions which focus on talent, they need to be appreciated for the fact that they're doing it, one. Number two, you know, if you were to judge a competition and someone disagrees with your decision, they will critique you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But this being that it's a popularity competition, this is about popularity. It's not about, I don't think it was about talent, to be honest. Talent is got a lot to do with it, but talent, if it was about talent, then they would have had judges, and judges would have put the top 5 or top 10, you know, and then let the people decide. People decide from that. With also a bit of help from the judges as well. But I mean, in this day and age, as we were talking about, this is the streaming market when it comes to hip hop and when it comes to music in general. You also have to have a following. You have to have people following you. You have to be hustling stuff. So that's what also gets you your votes. That's also pushes you to the top, because I feel, yeah, sorry.
Like you're saying, it's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Like you can make a track today that's, say, better than a major artist's track, but just because they have more followers, they will get the vote. So if that's the name of the game, so be it. You have to accept it. But if we're looking at who's made a better song or whatever, now we're dealing with something else. It's not a popularity contest anymore. So and that's hard.
For you, who stuck out the most?
Man,
is any names that okay?
I can hardly remember the names, but I do remember from one of the first two submissions, there were some people who were like super talented and had a great song.
Yeah.
But, most likely because they don't have many people who know them, didn't get the vote. So there were at least three people that I felt were like, wow.
Yeah.
Because 100%. I did not know any of them. But, you hear them, you're like, I can hear the potential. Plus, this is also sounding great in itself. But, if you're not known, you're not known.
Yeah. But I've, do you remember the guy that came number one and the guy that came number two? Because number one was QXJR.
I don't really remember.
Yeah. He's got that old school. No, he's got that new school rapping. Sorry, the new. And I wasn't really feeling him as much because I felt like he's got a song called Van Gogh that was pretty good. There was a guy there that he got very good basketball references and stuff like that, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because I always look at content, but his song is new school kind of rapping.
Yeah.
I got one of the other youngsters that I know. Yeah, he's a 16-year-old kid. My missus' nephew, and I said, man, just listen to this guy. What do you think? And he was game with it. He was like, man, this I can fuck with this guy. You know what I mean? So there is a market for a guy like him, definitely 100%, and he just has to keep on pursuing it. But to me, the guy that came second, Nomad is he's the guy that I sent that beat, What's Up.
Oh yeah.
What's Up with the beat, with the trumpet and stuff like that, and you just killed it for me. Because I was quite chuffed about that beat. I was like, man, this iconic beats or whoever they are that made it. I was like, this sounds good. Because apparently they work together.
I can tell. So you see, like that song specifically, I can understand, why someone might make the beat, sit in the background a little more and let
like
the vocals
the drum
carry
the hard
drum. I can understand why they might do something like that, but there's a certain way to execute simplicity. It's not easy, but through constant practice, training, and listening to how other people do it, you can find the best way to do it. So that track, I liked the rap and the flow. So to me, the rap and the flow said the beat should be simple, but not too simple that it's sounds a bit lacking.
Okay.
But overall, I can see the idea and the potential that you're onto something. It just hasn't reached that spot.
Okay.
But like I even went through the other tracks and I was like, okay, there was another track with the iconic beats, which was pretty dope. And I was like, okay, from that one to the What's Up, I'm like, okay, something. in my mind, I'm like, okay, I think the artist was telling the producer this is what he wants,
Uh-huh.
so it's up to the producer to see it through and make it sound really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Now, when you told me that I must compare it to that J. Cole Middle Child, I saw what you're talking about. I saw what you're saying
Yeah.
about the trumpets. The trumpets come, and then the beat that drops after that has to be as heavy as the trumpets. So I saw what you mean, and to me, as I said, because of my untrained ear, I'm just listening to, yeah, that sounds good, and I'm listening to the
Yeah.
I'm listening to the content of the song. I'm like, this is well put
Yeah.
together. I hear that. But yeah, he's got a few good songs. Be Like That is a nice song as well. I think that's one of his most popular ones because he's rapping about his personal stuff.
See, that's great. Like, it's, hold on, I'm gonna try and pull it up. What's his name again?
Nomad.
Okay,
Nomad.
there it is.
Yeah. Okay.
The album is called Intermission.
Intermission. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's the other one? So what's up? Enchilada.
You enjoyed Enchilada.
Track 3. It's you see,
I like that song.
Same producer, but the sound of the beat, you can hear that, okay, this is been fleshed out,
Fleshed out?
Fleshed out, like you started making a beat,
Mm-hmm.
you listen to it, you're like, okay, let me tweak this, let me tweak this, and then it all comes together and it gels well.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean when you flesh it out, like you really get into the meat of the beat.
Yeah.
You want a steak, you want a nice thick juicy steak.
Is this a pun on because it's enchilada?
Nah.
Because you my burrito. I tried that shit with my partner. I was like, hey man, you my burrito, you my enchilada. She's like, what, you trying to sound fat or what? You know what I mean? I think he's the only guy that can pull off that song. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
But I liked it. I think it's very catchy. I liked it. I really.
Yeah, I like his style. I definitely do.
There was another rapper in the competition called Strictly DT or something. Just look him up as well. Yeah, man. I liked his flow. If that was up to me, those two would have been number 1 and 2, Nomad and. But I mean, look, JXJR, as you said, man. He probably has a big following and people liked his stuff. Like, I mean, it's for the younger.
No. It's a competition, so it's fair game, and you bring more people to vote for you, you win. Like if you're a politician and you're going to different states and you convince people to vote for you, you win.
Yeah.
So
people won't actually look at your policies and stuff like that. They'll be like, oh no, man, you guys.
Yeah, look, it's not a knock to the winner because he came through, he delivered, and he won. So if I ask myself, is this the music I like? The answer may be no, but he won, so I have to give him credit, regardless whether I like it or not. So he won, he gets the credit for winning. He played the game to win. If you're playing soccer, you score more goals, you win. You get more votes, you win. You have more following, you win.
Yeah.
And the others can be, more talented, but at some point you have to say this guy put in the work to get the followers.
Yeah.
That's it. That's where the differences come in. So it's not always going to be about talent or skill, but someone will put the work and they'll get the following, they win. End of story. They won.
Yeah.
No two ways about it.
And I think big up to our alt music group for this competition though. It's good. I mean, this is perfect time for it. People can do it, send out their music videos at home. I like that. I like that aspect of it. Like, the guys right now as sitting at home, working on their music careers.
This is the time.
Yeah, you
This
do
is the
everything on
time.
Instagram.
So
You know what I mean?
I'll
Do the
be
competition.
doing my finger drumming.
Yeah. This is why I like the versus thing as well. Just to end on that, man. I like the versus thing because it's I like the idea of, man, right now doom and gloom, what can we do? Let's come up with something, just to keep people entertained. Entertainment industry has been hit so bad in this pandemic. It's nice to get something. It's nice to see the value of them as well. It's nice to see the value of the entertainment industry because we need it.
Yeah.
Even though they've been hit the hardest, we need the entertainment industry so much.
That's what lifts your spirits most of the time.
Yeah, but they're really undervaluing it right now. They're really undervaluing it.
Now, I see the good and bad in it. It's bad that they're undervaluing it. I think the good that's going to come out of it is artists will become more independent.
Yeah.
And they will then start to dictate their own terms. And I think that's the power artists and creatives need in general. So when they're given the platform to do things their way, they'll become a lot more creative with it. So, and who knows what it's going to influence? It'll influence the next generation of artists, and it's only great things that will come out of them.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the Snoop versus DMX?
Yes.
Who won?
Snoop won. Snoop won. Look, this is what annoys me about the verses. Like, for example, did you see the Rick Ross versus 2 Chainz?
Yes, 2 Chainz. That was my next question. Who won?
Why? I don't think they're matching up these guys properly, to be honest. I really don't think they're matching up these. I don't think
here's the thing.
Be matched up with DMX. If Snoop was put with someone else, because DMX, as I said, DMX is like Lupe. He went quiet for a long time. Snoop has been consistent. He's been dropping album. He's got a massive catalog.
Okay, but
Snoop should be with Eminem or Busta Rhymes. Honestly. Okay, no, give me not Eminem.
Busta Rhymes.
But Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes and Snoop would have been fantastic. Would have been entertaining, and we would have got to the end of it thinking, man, who won on that one? I don't like it when it's like a clear one person's a winner.
No, man. Look, okay, here's the thing also. It's not a battle.
I know. I know.
Yeah. So,
but it needs to feel like a battle.
If you put it in context, like DMX had hits, man.
Yeah, he did.
DMX came.
DMX had hits. DMX definitely had hits.
So, but this isn't a case of longevity. It's the tracks that were played.
Yeah.
Who played more entertaining tracks or tracks that got you moving more than the other? That's what the battle is, not who's better than the other.
Yeah. I know that.
Who had the better song selection?
I know that. But the thing is, I think you appreciate it more. Like, for example, when, who should I say? Alicia Keys and John Legend.
Man.
When they did theirs, there was a lot of times when I was like, wow, this really is bars. This is really going at each other. This is what we're experiencing something,
Yeah.
The Bounty Killer and Beanie Man one, like, wow.
I missed that one.
Oh man, one thing that made me chuffed. Jamaica, I don't know whether people consider Jamaica a third world country, but I mean, the internet was far much better than the internet that these guys were having in America. I mean, what's going on there? You know what I mean? The Nelly and Ludacris one was, the internet was bad. You know what I mean? How was it? But they leveled up the game, huh? The two of them.
I need to check that one out. Like you see the Rick Ross and 2 Chainz. I'm a bigger fan of Rick Ross than I am of 2 Chainz. But Two Chainz made it clear he's not going track for track. He's just gonna play tracks that got plaques. And I was like, damn. When he set that stage and he played his tracks, you're like, wow, this guy's been having hits quietly.
Yeah,
He's been having hits quietly.
2 Chainz should have gone with Future, I think. 2 Chainz and Future would have been a nice one, because there you'd have, those two have done songs where you forget about them. You forget that Future was involved with that song. Future did that song. Same thing with 2 Chainz. That's the nice thing about 2 Chainz. When you're listening to it, you're like, oh wow, hey, that song, yeah, that song. Whereas Rick Ross, in your mind, you already got about 10 songs in the catalog that I can't wait till he plays. Yeah, I can't wait until he plays this song. I can't wait until he plays that song. So, and then he plays, and then 2 Chainz plays his song, and then he plays his song, and you're like, yeah, nah, shut up, 2 Chainz.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Look,
yeah, I keep feeling like that.
Initially, I thought it was a clear win for Rick Ross. Initially. But after 3 songs in, I was like, okay, I need to slow down a little.
Huh?
I need to slow. Plus, look, when 2 Chainz brought in the professionals,
The masseuse.
Rick Ross brought the masseuse. That was entertaining. You see, so they brought something different. It wasn't me versus you. It's like, this is how I ball. This is how you ball. And I'm like, okay. To me, that's where I'm like, this is a good battle. It's a good versus, because they sort of think the same way. The Snoop versus DMX, dog versus dog. That's enough for me to be like, yeah, good. Sure, they can do another one, Snoop versus someone else, but the next one is Brandy versus Monica.
That one, yeah, that's an interesting one. Although that Monica's gonna lose. That Monica.
I'm not saying anything.
You already know.
Why are you saying that?
Because of Brandy's catalog. Brandy has been dropping stuff for a long time, and this is the thing about your catalog. Some of these musicians they go quiet. That's where the problem is. When you staying consistent, you staying out there. Every now and then you pop up on a song here. Every now and then you drop an album. That's when you can see that, okay, this got a catalog. You got a catalog for years that you've been. The problem with this versus thing, it was not planned. You know what I mean? This is not.
What do you mean?
You haven't planned this your whole career to be here today to say that one day I'm going to do a versus thing. All of a sudden,
I understand.
This is popular to do it. So now you have to look back and start questioning your own catalog. Like, do I really have hits? Have I really been consistent?
Look, let me put this in perspective for you. Brandy and Monica have the same number of albums.
Okay.
Brandy has not dropped an album in 8 years. The album she dropped this year, that's 8 years after her last album.
The features?
What features? We're not talking features.
Features come up.
You said catalog.
Features come up in your catalog. You're allowed.
True.
I mean, John Legend, you saw the first song he dropped on that thing?
Yeah.
That piano for Lauryn Hill. I was like,
I did not know he did that.
Yeah, I think it was Everything is Everything or something. He did the piano.
We don't know how they're going to approach this as artists. So I think that makes it interesting. Obviously, we're thinking the boy's mind, right? For Brandy and Monica.
That's the reason why. It's just the boy's mind. That's
setting up the stage. But I would not underestimate Monica.
So what happens to that song? Who takes that song?
Which one?
The boy's mind.
I think they'll have to
you
perform
can't,
it together.
You can't. Brandy can't just sneak that one in. It's like, wait, I played it first. You know what I mean? Whoever got the 10 songs first, you know what I mean? They just
You
sneak.
can't. I'm curious to see how it turns out.
Yeah.
Very curious. Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, there was talk, you know, that Mariah Carey must go against Mary J. Blige.
Ooh. Ooh.
But the argument,
I would love.
but the argument is, who is the audience? The audience for Versus are largely hip hop and R&B people, right?
So?
If you think Mariah Carey, her audience is larger than just the hip hop and R&B audience. Primarily, it's outside of hip hop and R&B.
Yeah, but
So what I'm saying is more hip hop and R&B people love Mary J than they do Mariah. But Mariah Carey has a bigger catalog and more hits.
But this, you know, I think this is the problem with this versus thing. The versus thing, as you said, it's not a competition where, you know, you win money or anything like that. You want to go through that versus enjoying, that song, and that's the reason why I say that, like, you know, the Rick Ross and 2 Chainz thing. If it was the same level of musician, you'd have been that song. But when you playing this hits versus that hits, this hit, this that, then it sounds like, okay, these guys are going bars for bars, and you can actually because the competition is not for the public. I think the competition is for yourself. You know what I mean? It's for yourself to judge. It's like, man, today I think I'm gonna listen to
winning.
I'm gonna listen to Snoop after this. You know, that's exactly what's going on with these versus things. You stream after that because whatever you're like, man, I haven't heard those songs in a long time.
You
So
go back and listen to them.
The question is, when you come out of it, who you gonna stream first? You know what I mean? Who you wanna just listen? Man, Beanie Man.
Like, honestly,
Beanie, he dropped songs that I haven't heard days
in ages.
Those losing virginity songs. You know what I mean?
You see, like the Snoop and DMX, I wanted to go and listen to more DMX songs after that.
Yeah, I did DMX.
And also 2 Chainz, Rick Ross, I wanted to go listen to more 2 Chainz after that. I mean, to me, it's because I always listen to Snoop and Rick Ross.
Yeah.
I need to go listen to these other guys because they've got hits which went over my head.
What about Jadakiss Fab?
I didn't watch that one.
Okay.
I need to go back to it.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
And who do you think took it?
No, Jadakiss because and like there, I think that was a fair competition because the only reason was there's a couple of Fab songs that he threw there that I just didn't recognize, and that's my own fault. That's my own doing. But there was a couple of ones that Jadakiss dropped, and I was like, "Jeez, bruh, yeah, man, okay." That's the reason.
Yeah.
That's the reason why you have to sign off. You know, that's the reason why you have to sign off as a GOAT. I want a big name though. I really want I want a Jay-Z, Eminem.
Against who?
I don't know.
Eminem
What about
Jay-Z?
What about Jay-Z Nas? Come on.
Are we doing this again?
Come on. Look, they've squashed the beef. They would enjoy it. For the fans, for the culture. I mean, for the culture, that would be strong.
I hear
that would definitely be strong.
But it'll be polarizing.
You think?
It'll be polarizing. It'll bring a Jay-Z versus Nas thing. Like it'll create 2 camps. Understandably, I hear what you're saying. It would be good for.
It's a gimmick. I mean, it's dog versus dog. You know what I mean? It's the gimmick behind it. Yeah. You know, there's the history
versus
of it.
goat.
Yeah. There's the history. There's the The
Yeah,
money rapper versus the conscious rapper. You know, that's what it's basically.
yeah, I think that would be the only matchup, Jay-Z or versus Nas.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I don't see Jay-Z doing it. Like,
Yeah, that's the only
I think
problem.
it's beyond that.
Yeah, that's the only problem. You know,
Who would Eminem take?
hey, Eminem is difficult, man. Eminem is difficult. Eminem is difficult. I
No,
really, I
really
think Eminem needs to go up. Maybe Busta Rhymes, as I was saying. Busta, you know what? Busta got some stuff, man.
I know.
Busta got hits.
I know. I know. I know.
Busta got catalog, man. Busta got hits.
He needs. I get where you're going because they're both crazy.
Yeah, and not only are they crazy, they came up with new. They came up with something new. You know, it wasn't just a white rapper. It's what he was saying and how he was putting it. And Busta Rhymes wasn't just a rapper. He was this
It was entertaining, man.
nutty professor. I don't know. He was just this crazy dude, you know, shouting on the mic, but just doing it eloquently. You know what I mean? So,
Hey, man. Whew. I think so, yeah. Busta Eminem might be an interesting one. But I don't know, man.
you know who I'm the most curious about is who they would do Missy Elliott. Who do you put with Missy Elliott? Again,
No one.
you know, on the level of her own. I mean, who can?
No one.
You can't. You
No
can't.
one.
You know, maybe Kanye.
No. You see, Kanye is it Kanye as a producer or Kanye as a rapper?
Both.
No,
can't.
That's not fair.
Nah, you can't.
That's not fair. Yeah.
No, you
So
Kanye needs to go up against Pharrell Williams or something.
okay. That sounds interesting.
That would be good, man. You know.
Sounds interesting. Even though I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but do we want to listen to
tricky
Kanye for an hour in a room? That's where he starts talking about Harriet Tubman or some shit like fuck that. You know what I
Hey man,
mean?
we'll let Kanye be Kanye.
That's where the problem is. You know what I mean? Anyway, man.
Yeah, person. I'm curious. Let's see after this, Monica, Brandy. Let's see what comes up next.
Yeah. So far, which has been your favorite?
Wow, I think the first one I actually sat down and watched start to finish was Alicia Keys and John Legend.
Yeah.
And I was like blown away.
Nicely done.
And then I watched the Snoop and DMX. Very entertaining. Very like I was just so happy to see DMX.
Yeah.
You know, that took it, you know, to the next level. Rick Ross and 2 Chainz was very entertaining. Very entertaining. So if I had to choose, man, I'd probably go with the Snoop and DMX.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah. Just because seeing DMX was out of this world for me, essentially.
Yeah.
Because he's been away for a while. He came through, he was himself. Him and his nice belly. I was like, I love this guy.
That belly, yeah. he's gonna have the same problem that Beanie Man had with the belly.
Someone was like, if they get a certain number of views, they'll take off their t-shirts. I wanted to see that. Like, I think just the energy of that one was different. It was different. Like, it took you back to the past. It took you to a space where, you know, DMX, like a lot has happened in his life and people have looked at him a certain way. But, you know, you have to come back and look at him as a human being.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this did. And I appreciated that the most.
No, it's nice to see DMX. It's nice to see it because people can forget this guy was a superstar. He was in movies. acting with Steven Seagal. He was not just a rapper. He was actually
He did
a superstar at some point.
He was, man.
All on drugs, all on crack. But, he was a superstar, and dropped it. So there was a time when DMX, so to see him getting back into it, man, it feels good.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the first few ones, the Timbaland versus Swizz Beats.
Timbaland and Swizz Beats.
Do you
that was interesting
that
in the car.
I
watched most of it where they're both in their cars playing beats. I was like, okay, this is good.
Yeah, this was fun, But then after that, they had Scott Storch.
Scott Storch and Manny Fresh. I thought that was a landslide, man.
Yeah.
Manny Fresh, respect. Like he carried an era, a space and time.
Yeah.
Like he occupied a space and time. I think that's just special in its own self. But Scott Storch is too diverse. Way too diverse.
There was some stuff that these guys dropping. I mean, Scott Storch comes from the Roots. He was a band member of the Roots. I mean, how do you...
That alone,
That alone, you know what I mean? Like, okay, all right. So this is where and that's what I like about this versus stuff, because it brings out stuff you're like, wow, okay.
The history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's where that person is. You know what I mean? That's where that guy comes from,
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
All right,
what
Governor.
Else came after that? I'm trying to recall, what were the other verses? Those, the Kirk Franklin and someone else.
Yeah, there's a Ted Riley one with Babyface.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that one. I didn't see Jill Scott and Erykah Badu.
Yeah, even that one. I started watching that one, but I was just getting a bit annoyed by Erykah Badu. 112 versus Jagged Edge. They had that one.
How did you find that one?
It's all right. I got a bit bored of it. Yeah, it's just one of those ones.
Okay.
Yeah. Those.
Let's see what
been a couple.
Up.
There's been a couple of good ones.
I think it's just it's growing now. Like it's becoming what it actually wants to be.
Yeah, because apparently they're signing a deal with Apple or something.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the deal is, but you can stream it on Apple TV or Apple Music.
Yeah,
you can live stream the video, and
the quality is better. Is the quality much better?
It's HD, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, because the Instagram one, man, sometimes man, it gets a bit rough.
Like the small screen. Come on, I want to see.
No, but it's good though. It's authentic, and I like that. In this day and age, in the social media day and age, it's nice because authentic stuff sells better than nicely produced, and it's nice to see what some of these people actually look like without the.
I want DMX back, man. You need to take off his shirt.
DMX is looking like one of those old uncles. This is gonna give you some wise shit.
Oh man,
it's gonna talk some wise game to you.
Like I couldn't stop smiling. I couldn't stop smiling. It was that good.
No, but you know what? I mean, this guy used to be the most scariest guy. Now he's looking like a fucking Teletubby.
That's the thing.
Fuck that. You know what I mean?
Teletubby X.
You know what I mean? Are we still gonna be scared when he raps? You know what I mean? I don't think we can be scared anymore. You know what I mean?
Nah, you just gotta love him. Like,
that's DMX, man. It's just nice to see him.
Damien.
It's nice to see him. I really want to go watch Belly now. I really want to go watch that movie now. All right, Governor. All right, Q.
Sir.
I think we've been pushing this for about an hour and a half now. So I'm gonna have to leave you to, produce some more beats.
Yeah.
Yeah. To produce some iconic music.
Some dinosaurs.
Yeah, some dinosaurs on the way, dude. Just be careful with those dinosaurs, you know. Just be careful the way you tread. But look, man, Q, a real pleasure. Thanks for coming on. And actually, so this is actually going to be the first episode that's going to go on. So thank you very much. Thanks for making this podcast what it is with all your help.
Thank you.
And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm going to ask you now, right now. Can we do this again on this podcast? We might as well start this,
I think so.
Yeah, we might as well start this.
I think so.
Yeah. When a few more verses comes out.
Send the paperwork. I'll send it to my lawyer.
Perfect. All right,
we talk to Apple.
Get our deal from Spotify. Yeah, see what happens.
Make it work.
All right.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Peace out. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. QXJR. Peace, my brother.
Thank you.